Hey, everyone, we are back for another episode. We
Welcome.
have some great guests here today. They are willing to take time out of their schedule, but we are blessed to have them on the show. But first and foremost, Dre, how's everything been, man?
What's up, Ray? Happy Saturday. Everything's been
Happy
going
Saturday.
everything's been going really well. It's been a long week at work. However, I'm here. I woke up today. I'm just looking forward to tomorrow. I have some aspirations I want to get done. And this weekend, I'm just trying to relax and enjoy myself. So I'm just pushing through, but all in all, everything is fairly well. I'm excited to see what these ladies have to say today and see their views. We have people from all over the world coming and talking today. So I'm very excited to hear women
Yes, sir.
speak, and hear their opinions. I'm not sure if lately I've been seeing all the flack people have been getting for male podcasts, and it's been putting a bad name, I feel like, on people who open up their doors to discuss their ideas. So
Right.
I think it's nice that women come in a space where they can express their views, and hopefully, our little comments don't throw them off from the main point they're trying to make. So I'm excited to see what they have to say. And how have you been doing? How have you been doing, Ray?
Bro, I'm taking it one day at a time, man. I'm enjoying life, trying to find new things to do. Still determined to continue to work out, continue to push my knowledge even further. So it's been a great week. Even though this month is going to be a little bit of hell because I have to prepare some students for the Trinity exam. Riaana, I'm pretty sure you know how that goes. But other than that, man, I'm surviving. I'm here. I'm healthy. And I'm just happy to be here on another day on this beautiful planet. All right, let's start. So Riaana, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself, your background, and the floor is yours.
I'm from London. I am an English teacher in Spain. So I've been in Spain for about 4 years. And that's how I met Raymond. It's been an experience. And I've just started as becoming self-employed, actually. I was working in some, academies and schools, but I've decided to go it alone now because, I feel like I know what it takes to get the kids there. I feel like I'm very passionate. So I thought, why not go it alone? So yeah, very happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to come on. It's an honor.
Congratulations on the self-employment.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's
Freedom.
what's up.
That's
Listen,
right.
I always tell people, like, if you have your own like business and you have your own goals and like you continue to work at them, do it. Like, I respect, listen, I don't mind people working for other people, but like the whole goal is to like push your limits until you're done on this earth. And like I respect that you're doing that. So like big ups to you. Congrats. I respect that you're own boss. That's what's up.
Thank you.
Huge.
Well,
Yes.
oh,
Yes. Ashley, introduce yourself. Microphone.
Okay. Hello. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I'm Ashley. I'm from Connecticut, born and raised, and I work for a class action firm as a research analyst. I'm newly engaged to Andre. He's right here. And yeah, just living life, living the dream.
Yes. Congrats.
Thanks for having me.
That's what's up.
Thank you.
Yes. More life.
Yes.
Okay. Verónica, introduce yourself. Yes.
Hello, I'm Verónica. I'm from Arizona. Sorry, just trying to. And I work in education. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
We're happy to have you on. So we're gonna start the show by talking about your experiences, right? Growing up, becoming from being a girl to a woman. What was your experiences like? Tell us something about like some of the difficult challenges you had to go through and some of the disadvantages that has happened in your experience. Okay, Veronica, please go first. Tell us a little bit about your experience growing up and like your disadvantages and like those stereotypes that you have gotten as a girl and becoming a woman.
I mean, I guess it's hard because all of the different parts of your social identity, I think, influence the way you're treated. So, I mean, I think being a woman for sure, but there's other layers, you know, like the intersectionality of it. So there's like race, which is a huge one everywhere, but especially in the US, like class. For me in my industry right now, it's age. People are ageist. I'm a young woman of color. It's different.
Let them know.
Yeah. So no, I mean, that's my experience or I guess my point of view.
Okay. Riaana, tell us a little bit about your experience.
I think like from when I was young, I'd say maybe when I was a teenager up until being an adult, I always felt responsible. You know, I feel like there was just such a weight of responsibility, whether it be the way I dressed, the way I spoke, what I said, what I did. I feel like I always felt like, you know, there was more freedom, for example, for my brothers, and there was more limitations placed on me. And, you know, it's always my responsibility to be the safest possible when I go out at night, or, you know, just you can't wear that, you know, you might provoke someone. And it's like, you know, I feel like there's not a lot of responsibility placed on men, you know. I mean, if you think of when you're a child and you see two boys fighting, like, or play fighting, they'll be like, oh, boys will be boys. No, that's what is often said in England. But if two girls are fighting, it's like separate them straight away, you know, as young children. So you quickly learn that men and women, or boys and girls, behave in exactly the same way, but it's treated differently. So I think that's why responsibility is the big word.
Right. Damn, that was deep. Ashley, tell us a little bit about your experience too.
Yeah, so I'm Latin American. I'm a Latina, and I think the hardest part was kind of balancing how like my dad raised me and my sisters very independent, like strong independent women. But then you get into society and it's like I have to like compete with men, and even though I'm putting myself out there and you know, maybe doing better than they are, I'm still not looked at as an equal. So it was hard because my dad raised me to, you know, I don't need a man. I can get things myself. But then you're put into society and it's like they don't take me as seriously as I guess my dad raised me to be. So yeah.
Okay. And we have somebody else that is on the show as well. Sophie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and also can you tell us a little bit about your experience because you're from a different country as well. Tell us a little bit about your experience you know, being a girl now becoming a woman, and like the disadvantages and what society has done to you.
I think it's mostly just, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything that's been said so far, but it's also the fact that there was a lot of subtext, a lot of implications, and like not in my household, or at least not from my father, but my mother, for example, she was always very adamant that like it was very subtle, is what I'm trying to say, that you always had to look your best, but not because you wanted to look your best, but because other people were going to look at you, and that only applied to women. And other people were going to look at you and they were going to regard you as either desirable or not, or competition or not. And my mother is really not one of the worst offenders when it comes to that. She's really, in comparison, she's not bad with it at all. But it was definitely prevalent and intense in the society that I was raised in. Luckily, not in my environment as much, because from my point of view, I've been very privileged with my upbringing and my schooling and everything. But I know that by and large, the society in Venezuela, at least, is very misogynistic. And yeah, it's definitely just, it's always a struggle when it comes to not only being taken seriously, but being taken seriously because of the things that you do or don't do, rather than because of who you are.
Right. Ooh, that was deep too. So my question is to you ladies. How do we progress? How do we make society change its view on how you guys should be on this earth? How do we change the minds of men,
And
right? Because we're all the same. Like, the only thing that's different is what's between our legs. Really, we're all the same. I just, growing up, for me, I was raised by a single mother, right? A strong woman at that. Drake can tell you, Dre's mom was strong too.
absolutely.
But I was always taught to respect and see women how you see your other friends. Like, don't treat them any differently. Uh put their don't like disregard their feelings. Like, they're the same as you. So I never really I never really done things to, like, made a woman feel comfortable or offend a woman. But, like, my question is, how do we change that narrative? Like, what can we do? Like, give us some advice. Riaana, tell us, like, give us some advice on how we can change that narrative on the way women should be looked.
I think actually there's a kind of responsibility on both sides. I think for men to listen, but also for women not to, go by double standards, like the whole thing of like, I want to be equal, but the man should pay on the first date, that kind of, narrative. And like, even I've been guilty of it, men opening the door. I like that, it seems like such a gentlemanly gesture, but also I can open the door, but I don't expect it, So I think that, like, I was born in the 90s, so I'm in that in-between stage, I'm kind of modern, but you still have these traditional things that you've been told and taught. So I think
Right.
one thing is important, that men need to listen, just actually listen and learn, and I think it's the same about racism. It's like when you're talking to someone who's not of color and they're just not listening, and they're saying, but what about our struggle? And I'm like, you're not listening, I think
Yeah.
the first thing is just to be open and just to learn, I can't talk about how it is to be a white woman or a white man, so I'm prepared to listen to their experience. And each struggle is separate. We shouldn't be trying to merge the struggles.
Yeah, nah, wow, nah, that's what's up. Dre, what's your thought on that?
I mean, I think what she said is remarkable in a sense too, because no matter what, I mean, and this is my personal opinion, no matter what I do to myself, I can never speak as a woman because I am a man, and your experiences are your experience. I have to be able to listen and believe you that this is how you processed your experience. I can only tailor it from my perspective on my end of it, but I would never know how I made you truly feel unless you tell me, and like you guys all had mentioned, like in regards to talking about your experiences, Veronica, you mentioned race, class, and age. Riaana, you talked about responsibilities and limitations. I talked about the same thing. You were raised one way, but then you go into a world, and then you kind of have to not dumb down, but like adjust to the way the world views you. Society, exactly. And Sophia, you said the same thing in regards to responsibility about other people. Like not really you being who you are. You still have to go out, and there's a big responsibility you guys have as women. So like in regards to those things, like what do you feel like can be done differently, like to change? What do you feel needs to be done to change aside from just like listening and like hearing women? Like what do you feel like man when I
For
Give
me, I think people just need to acknowledge that fucked up shit happens. Sorry for my language, but like we
No. Speak
like
on it.
stories of violence like against women and stuff. And so I think it's important for people to talk about that. Kind of like what Riaana was saying, where like if people are like, oh well, what, don't all lives matter? And it's like, shut the like, you know, it's not listening. And I think people just need to like mostly or lead by acknowledging the problem and then maybe go to a solution rather than like just giving a different perspective. I don't know.
Right. No.
I
Right.
definitely agree. I just wanted to say this, like, I think also like unlearn some things that society kind of taught you when you were younger. I think that's really important. You know, you grow up and people around you kind of put some type of narrative in your mind, whether it's race, like gender, whatever. And not everything that they taught you is right. And I think it's like you have to acknowledge that and kind of unlearn some of those like biases.
Yeah. And Sophie, can you give us your thought on that?
I think one of the most important things is just respecting agency. The fact that people should be allowed to have a choice in what is done with them and what is said about them. And like, I understand that it's difficult to change some habits. Like, that's totally understandable. If you've been taught to do something one way and you've been doing it that way your whole life, it's kind of hard to do a complete 180 just like that. But
Yeah.
I think it's the most important part is that you have to respect it when someone tells you like that is hurtful or that doesn't help or you're not listening. They're straight up. It's just about respecting the fact that this person, just like any other person, should have a choice. And also regarding the double standard thing that Riaana, I think, was talking about. Personally, I've seen that a lot of, for example, in Europe, in Spain, a lot of countries, some policies have been adapted to help women. And regarding, for example, like it's a lot of positive discrimination. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I see like it works. Like it has an important effect and it does provide a significant improvement in quality of life in general. And I think it's important to like you stick to the general, to the average, rather than, oh, but there's this one case, this one time, or like 0.5% of times where it doesn't happen that way. And it's, yeah, but what about the 99.5% where it does happen the other way?
Right.
So it's just like that balance of trying to make things go forward, but at the same time, like not turn it around. I'm really not a big fan of this. I've seen it's like a trend, I guess, where it's like a lot of people going, oh, I hate all men, or in general, like I hate men. I really don't like that. I feel bad when I hear it or when I come across people who say things like that, because like I understand that there's hurt. I've also been hurt, but at the same time, like, let's be better.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, thank you. Dre, any final words?
Yeah, so again, the point I was trying to make before, thank you guys for, channeling through my babble. But what I was saying was, you guys talked about limitations. Do you guys still feel as adults you're limited in some ways now? Being more understanding of who you are as an individual. And I know that evolves over time. Some people still don't know who they are, or it can change, but understanding you as an adult now, do you feel like you hold more people accountable now? Do you feel like you speak up more now? Like, do you still feel limited by the things you couldn't change from when you were younger as a woman?
Riaana, go ahead.
I definitely speak up now more than I used to, because I think that's with age and you're more confident in yourself. But as a Black woman in a corporate space, I've always been a teacher. I've been in professional settings in schools, and I kind of feel like if you feel strongly about something, you have to, dial back the passion, because you're automatically seen as, you know, the aggressive Black woman, you know, and I think just in society, in relationships, you know, Black women are viewed as sort of very aggressive. And I don't know why that is, because, like, you know, there's a Latina here, you know, Ashley, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But for
Veronica
example,
too,
if you
yeah.
a Latino, when they get passionate, it's sexy, you know. It's like, oh wow, you know, she's getting passionate. If you put if you take the same words and put it in the mouth of a Black woman, you know, it's like it's right under our skin, you know. Automatically, it's like, oh, we don't want that, you know. But it's like, why can't you just be passionate and have a strong view and things like that? So I do feel like, in at least in the workspace, I feel like I have to dial back my passion for a particular opinion, or if I don't agree with something, you know. And I'm someone who has a lot of tact, you know. I'm a very peaceful person, in general. But even like that, I still feel like I need to, you know,
Yeah.
dial back the passion.
Dial
Yeah,
back.
woosah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I
totally
actually
get
met
that.
someone actually that once, she was from South Korea, I think. So you can't really, you know, it's a very homogeneous society. And she once told me, she was like, I thought you were going to be like this. And she did that. And I was like, what does that even mean? I thought you were going to be, and she just did the action. And I was like, so she's probably took like a personality from a TV show that she's
Yeah.
seen in her country, and just assumed that we were all like that. So I was just like, that was one of those moments where I was like, oh.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Can't I be soft and demure and, you know?
Ashley, what's your thought on it?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of Riaana. Basically, in my personal like life, I definitely feel like I'm more confident to like speak up if something's bothering me. Like, if a friend says like in a song is saying the N-word, I like cut that out. Like, don't do that. Do not do that in front of me. I think I agree with Riaana that when it comes to work, I'm a little more hesitant because my job is primarily, it's like 95% men. It's also like 90% white men. So I feel like if I speak up, I'm almost coming off as like, oh, the sensitive girl, of course she's saying something, like I hurt her feelings because she's a woman. Like, so I think I kind of hold back at work more than I would in my personal life.
Veronica, what's your thought on it?
No, I mean, I agree with all of the points other people have made. One thing I thought about when Riaana was talking about like the stereotype of angry Black women, I was thinking about something I had read in education about, they said it's like the adultification of young Black girls in school. Like they're unfairly disciplined, and the data shows that nationally. And it's just like, I was a teacher, and so like I saw this stuff happen, where colleagues, it's like people don't usually claim that that's their intention, but it just happens. And I think that everybody needs to be aware of like their race in America, and like before you do anything, especially if you're in a position of power, like consider that and the positionality of it. Like, that I probably shouldn't say that to this person because of this, you know?
Right. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Sophie, what do you think?
Okay, I think as I've grown, I've become better at communicating everything, like in general, the things that bother me, and like if I feel like someone is belittling my interests or whatever, I feel a lot more comfortable with actually speaking out about that. But at the same time, I've also grown more aware of which battles I'm not likely going to win, and it's just going to create like an argument where I have no possibility of winning. I've just become better at recognizing those situations, and actually like, in a way, I guess I've grown to try to make people understand any struggles or any general like situation that is happening with people that are actually willing to listen. Because if you're not going to listen to me, if you're not willing to have an actual open discussion with me, I'm not going to waste my time. And I feel like that's been a very important lesson for me to learn. I have no responsibility to waste my time on people who don't want to change. Because the thing is, it's not only listening. Because if you're listening, that's wasting my time. If you listen and then you change your behavior accordingly, that's actually doing something.
Right.
That's
Right.
powerful.
Speak on it. Yeah, that's
Honest
powerful.
communication is action behind the words, you know. I can believe all the things you're saying, but like you gotta show me, you know, and that like
Right.
Veronica, it doesn't happen overnight, but we gotta, you know, do better in those stands. Wow, you're
Right.
saying a lot of powerful stuff.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on. I have another interesting topic that we should definitely discuss. And it is when it comes to sexual relations, reproducing. There's always in our lifetime, there's always been a problem with this, especially because in society we see women as okay, they are good for two things, having kids and being a mom, right? And that's not how it is. Like I said before, me, Dre, and people that were raised by strong women know that's not all true. So I want to hear your opinions on your opinions on abortion, sexual reproducing. What are your thoughts on it, Riaana?
Oh, well, it's controversial, isn't it? The topic of abortion. I'm sure in America, there's really strong feelings about it, especially in the Bible Belt, you know. And actually, I'm a Christian. So, you know, the views that I have do contradict that slightly. I'm pro-choice. You know, if I support abortion in any way, shape, or form, then I'm not pro-life, according to a lot of Christians, no. But I think there are so many situations which people find themselves in, you know, through ignorance or you know, whatever it may be. I don't think it's a form of contraception. I don't think we should just, you know, keep getting abortions every time we make a mistake. But I think we have to be, you know, there's so much bad going on in the world that, you know, and children are caught up right in the middle. And children have often got no homes to go to. So I really think, you know, and they grow up in care. So I don't know. I'm pro-choice. I think women should be given the choice. Men should not be able to decide on it. I think if it's a relationship, men should be able to decide with the woman. I think it's important to involve him. But I think at a political level, all men making decisions about women's reproductive organs, I think that is very wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And Veronica, what do you think about the whole point of view on sexual reproduction and like the view that women have in society about like being a woman should be a mother, she should take care of the kid. What are your views on that?
Well, I think it's hard because people should obviously get to choose, and it's as a society are getting better to where not all women do feel like they have to get married. I mean, people are getting married later anyways compared to the women in the 50s. But I personally, like, some of my like aspirations for myself do align to that like traditional, and I think it should be okay if they align, okay if they don't align. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that answer too. And Sophie, what do you think about the whole sexual reproduction system for women and like the mom plays the important role? What do you think about that?
Well, I think first of all, to get it out of the way, I honestly think that there should be a lot more of a competent curriculum that's like general when it comes to sexual health. Sexual and reproductive health. I can't believe that there are some places where it's just not regulated and others where it's regulated in a way that allows for people to be deliberately misinformed about it. And I think that just doesn't lead to anything good on one hand. And on the other hand, what I would want to say is that there's of course this very traditional, like, standard, like as you've already said, but I think that one of the worst things that's happening at the moment is the fact that you're finding there's a saying, divide and conquer, and I think that that's very much something that's being applied to women as a whole, where like you're being pitched against someone else just for making a different choice, and I think it's ridiculous. Like, if you want to be a mother, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, who am I to say that you shouldn't do that? And if you want to go and travel the world and be on your own and never marry, who am I to deny you that? Who is anyone to deny you that?
Right.
And at the same time, I mean, I guess this is a point where, for me particularly, for example, intersectionality really comes in, because me, for example, I'm not straight. So like there's always this expectation of like the way that women are perceived is always in relation to their position to man. And I feel like that really impacts your social standing because of your sexual orientation or because of any dissident but like gender identities, like non-binary people who present as more female or something. There's always that impact, and it's not something that we really learn about before we're just out in the world, and sometimes reactions are not what we expect, even if they're not necessarily negative. And there's always that, I want to say it's a culture clash, but there's not really two different cultures, but there's definitely a clash there when you come up with like a person and an identity and multiple identities and multiple issues that overlap, and suddenly you meet someone who has never really either experienced or come into contact with any of these struggles or even the identity itself. And yeah, I think it's definitely very important that we, as a whole, as a world, as a society, we just like make that more like something that's important. Even I don't need it to be the focus of anything. I don't want my womanhood or my queerness to be the core of me, because there's so much to me that's not just that. But I do want that to be part of a conversation of not only who I am, but who a lot of people are, and how that can be something that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that too. That was deep. Ashley, what is your opinion on it?
Yeah, I think people need to be careful how they ask questions to women, specifically about that. Like, when are you getting married? When are you having a baby? Like, some people don't want to have a baby, and that's okay. Like, I do, but it's fine if someone else doesn't. I think society as a whole need to reword the questions they ask. Do you want to have a baby? Do you want to work when you have like kids? Instead of like kind of push like putting pressure on them as to like when they're doing it. Maybe they don't want to at all, because it makes people feel bad, you know. So
it's sad because like growing up, I'm pretty sure you heard your family saying, oh, like when you get married, you're gonna do this, you're gonna have kids, I'm gonna have grandkids, and it's like so much pressure, especially on women.
Yeah, it's like a whole timeline. It's like a whole timeline, like in your head.
It's a timeline, and like, it's sad. It's already prepared for you, and like that, it's not fair. It's a lot of stress, and like I don't think a woman should have to go through that much stress throughout her life, because they should have time for themselves. They should have time to do whatever they want, just like everybody else. And like I've always heard that growing up, is just like getting married, have kids, be a mother, stay at home. And like that is the timeline that society gives women, and I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah. Andre, what are your thoughts about it?
I mean, I definitely think that people should have a choice. I mean, women, excuse me. We're talking about not people. We're talking about we're not people. We're talking about women and their choices. I'm saying I do believe that women should have a choice to be pro-life or you know, if they decide that's what's best for them at that moment. Again, like who am I to decide for you? But I do appreciate how Riaana said if there's a relationship, I think it's fair to include the other person's opinion in that matter. Um, and I'm not saying like I hear about a lot of cases, but have been cases like when it's been presented to me, that's where my mindset goes is because I'm a relationship type of guy, you know, and the person that I am from my own personal experience, you know, I will want to say, and that also comes with responsibility, you know, and if my partner decides to, you know, terminate the pregnancy or go forward with it, you know, and that's my expectation in a relationship that I'm going to be there, you know, and I want to, not just me, but I understand though, like not everybody has that type of partner, not everybody has the support, and not everybody has the care, you know, because one night stands they happen, relationships happen, you know, and I think that people should have the choices to make whatever choice they want with, especially their body. We talk about agency, Sophia, like I get it completely. So that's where I stand on the matter when it comes to women making choices. Just have consideration, you know, have consideration if you're in a relationship. But I also understand how hard it is too when you have a lot of white men making choices for you in an office who doesn't understand your experience. Like that's crazy to me, you know. But in America, you know, we have people writing rules against people who don't even look like me, you know. So it's like it's the system. You know, you guys mentioned about divide and conquer. I feel like that's been a very common goal in many different settings, and it's very, very sad. But
Yeah.
I definitely think that women should have a choice.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say one more thing too about relationships, Dre, because I'm happy you brought that up. With relationships, right? We always like society always says that the man can have sex with whoever they want, how many women they want, and they're gonna be looked at as kings, gods, whatever you want to say, the homie, whatever. But when women have sex with a lot of men, they're looked at as sluts, thoughts. She belongs to the streets. All those type of like sayings, right? And I want to hear y'all opinions on it because I've been with women that have slept with multiple men, and for me, I don't care, right? Because I know I'm not perfect, right? She's not gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna have sex with a girl that was just for me and she was a virgin before. No, that does not happen. So my question is, why does society see women as sluts when they sleep with a lot of men, but they cherish men when they sleep with a lot of women? Veronica, what do you think?
I mean, that's a double standard. It sucks that women internalize it though. It's like, I think it's called internalized depression. Like, what's the way? Then you judge yourself. Like, and you might know logically that it doesn't actually matter, and that there should be the same standard, but still, because society creates this bad, then you kind of feel bad about yourself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Riaana, what do you think?
Oh, it's a deep one, this one. I
We gotta talk about it. We got to. We gotta talk about it.
You know what? I think, I'm in a different space now, but I kind of, because I'm actually trying to wait till marriage and actually understanding what that means and what sex means. I feel like some people view it as this sacred thing, and some people view it as an act, and I've always been that sort of person, like, speaking very personally, I've always seen it as you have to have some sort of emotional connection. And I feel like with women, there's often this idea of purity, like we have to be this pure. As I said, it's about responsibility. We have such a responsibility to be these pure creatures that bear children and cook wonderful meals, you know, but it's like the reality is some people, you know, don't fit that mold, don't want to fit that mold. But I definitely think things are changing. I really don't think that to the extent as it was maybe 10, 15 years ago. I think women can now sleep around and they won't be judged for it. But I think if a man, you know, and a lot of men would say this, if they're looking to settle down, they don't want that girl that has been around the block, but which is sad because I think, you know, I just think, again, we're always judged differently for the same actions. It could be from
Yeah.
anything, you know?
Yeah. Ashley, what is your thought about it?
Yeah, I like agree with Riaana and Veronica's statement so much. I'm piggybacking off Riaana again. Like, I see sex as like a emotional connection, so I'm very specific with who I do have sex with, or did, I should say. But I would never like judge another, like my best friend for sleeping with multiple guys, like, but society as a whole does do that. But I do agree with Riaana. I think we've come a long way. Like, I used to talk about this with my mom. Like, her and her friends would not really talk about sex at all. Like, it was like taboo for women to talk about it. Whereas like now, like, I can have open discussions like this, like on a podcast. So I think we've come a long way with it, but still have ways to go.
Right. And Sophie, give us your final thought before we move on.
Yeah. See, I think this one can come down to, you can look at it from two perspectives. One, which is like your relationships with people and like the communication aspect of them. Like, I think it's very important, and I think it's very positive, the fact that I think we're moving towards a more open society when it comes to communication with the people that you have a relationship with, whether that be romantic, sexual, or whatever, and where expectations are like a lot more openly discussed. And I think that's on one part like a good side effect of the fact that sex is not as taboo as it used to be, perhaps. And on the other hand, you have to look at it as there's definitely this mindset. Like, it's a fact that it exists, right? It is a thing. Where women and men are just not judged in the same way for doing the same things. And that's an issue. But I think when it comes to actually solving the issue, it can only come down to like having open discussions like this one. And I think also there's a strong part of like how language conditions the way that we think. And there's definitely some language that we shouldn't be using to talk about things like this. And particularly, for example, I think an incredible example of this would be virginity. Like, some people consider virginity to be something that's like very important, and they consider the line to be at a certain point. For example, like, some people consider it to be intercourse, some people consider it like oral sex counts as losing your virginity, some other people don't count it at all. Some people, like, personally, I don't really believe in virginity, to put it that way. Like, I just think that language has a very big impact in how we perceive the world and in how we process the different things that different people do. And that if we want to shift the narrative, we need to shift the language that we're using to tell it. And I think, for example, like, I was talking to someone the other day, and he was telling me like, this girl, she had been with someone else, but they hadn't had intercourse or whatever, and so I popped her cherry. And it was like, okay. That's not the language I would personally use to describe the situation, because I think that it only drives the narrative forward that like, this is something like, if you have a V card and then you lose it, and then that's it, and it's a part of womanhood or something like that that you need to give away or something like that. And I don't know if I'm making any sense, but
No, I understand. Yeah.
No, you're making sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yo, so we have one more topic to talk about, and this one is probably for me is probably the most interesting topic. Because right now millennials and what is it, Gen Z, we're running the world now, and like we need to really talk about this topic, and this topic is about empowerment, leadership, right? Um, and one thing that I always wanted to know, especially in recent years, I can't say for Riaana or Sophie, but in the United States, I always wondered when are we gonna have a woman president? When is our society going to take women seriously as a leadership role? Do you think it's going to happen in the United States? So I'm going to ask the people from the United States first. Ashley, do you think is there going to be ever a time where women actually run this country?
I do believe that will happen. I don't think for like, I would say probably like another decade though. Like if you
Another
look,
decade.
yeah, like we just had our first woman VP. Like it took us so long for that to happen. I don't like, we're so slow with progression in like our, I don't know, just our, like in America, that I don't think it'll happen for a while. I do think it'll happen. I just think like it's going to take forever. Same with like, we just had our first Black president. That took how long? And we've been a country for how long? Like, I don't know. I don't see it
Yeah,
happening for a while.
I feel you. I feel you on that one. Veronica, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to see some leadership from women? Do you think there will be a time in our lifetime where we can say finally, like there's some leadership on the other side?
Um, sorry, I was gonna respond to what Ashley had said.
Oh no, go ahead, respond. Go ahead.
No, I think it's exciting that we're gonna have hopefully our first Black woman Supreme Court justice in here. But no, I agree. The change is super slow. That's barely happening.
Yeah, it's super slow. But do you think there will be a time where women do have some say in leadership, like a president in the possible future?
Totally. It'll happen. Yeah.
Okay. I'm hoping, actually, I was hoping, and I know she said she's not going to run because her husband was already in office, but I was really hoping for Michelle Obama to run. But I think she's a little bit too Black for them, if you understand what I'm saying. But I would love to see it. And like for me, in my opinion, I would like to see some type of change, right? Like all of our life, of white men has ran our country. Like it's always been that type of like basic structure, and it hasn't worked. And I'm on the side of like, why not? Why not change? Why not? Let's see what can happen. Like, let's see if we can come together, and let's see if they can do the job better than what's been going on. So I'm hoping in the near future that it could work out. Riaana,
I'm
yeah, go
sorry to
ahead.
cut you off. I just wanted to feedback what you said. I
Yeah,
do
go ahead.
agree. Like, I really do hope that happens soon, you know? But you mentioned before too, like, you know, we have white men running this country, and you said it hasn't worked, but it has worked for them. You know what I'm saying? So like the standard in place is meant for the people that they want it to work for, and it works for them. If you're not really a white man in America, the system is built against you, and that's white women included to a certain extent, obviously, compared to people of color, you know? But like, I remember when Hillary Clinton ran for president, I remember watching a video, they're interviewing women about how they feel like if she's gonna win. And a lot of women that they interviewed, they're like, oh, no, heck no. Like, I don't think she's gonna win. I think the language has to change, and the support and empowerment to change within each other, you know? And like once I feel like I mean, I know women take each other seriously to an extent, but once like you really do truly support, I think, each other, and then we continue to listen, you know, and understand that like we don't know how y'all feel, and we act with your suggestions, I feel like we can really get there quicker, and I think it'll be great. Most of the women in my life, they're in high positions. Like that's where I got my drive and my ambition from, you know. Um, I say only a man can teach me how to be a man, but I've been very inspired by strong women in my life, and I know that women leading this country can do amazing things. So that's just where I stand. But like, as far as the system goes, it doesn't work for us and for that type of change that we need, but it does work for the people that are in place.
Right. Preach on that, Jerry. Preach.
Yeah.
Riaana, what do you think? Right? Because you come from a different place. Do you think there will be ever a leadership role?
Well, I mean, in England, we've had two female prime ministers, one in 75 and then Theresa May in 2016. So we're a bit more ahead, but I still feel like, you know, in the decision-making process, because you can have a president, but actually sometimes the president doesn't have as much power as you think they do. So, you know, I feel like it's very tokenistic. It's like, oh, I feel like America was very much like, oh, we've got a black president. You know, he was black, but also he wasn't like me, you know? And then it's like, then we got Donald Trump. So then it's like, hold on a minute, like you could not be further. I feel like we need to stop being proud of this first black, you know, first woman, first. It's just kind of tokenistic. It's like, oh, look, we've given you a woman. Oh, look, we've given you a black person. Can we just, you know, try and just have a whole upheaval, like people making decisions, people at the top, you know, of different, not just black, also Latino or Asian, you know what I mean? It's because I think we talk about white and black a lot, no? But I think there's other minorities that do get ignored. So for me, I feel like I'd like to see more women at the top making decisions, not necessarily a female president, because I don't think that will define success as society, you know, just that one president.
True. Thank you. Yeah. Damn, that was deep. Sophie, what about you? What do you think?
Okay, so I'm also not from the US. I'm Venezuelan. Like I lived there until like 4 years ago. So they have had some female like officials and stuff, but it's always been in very, I don't want to say irrelevant positions, but they weren't in any position to make significant changes. And I think that here in Europe, I live in Spain now. The thing is, it's exactly what Riaana said. It's just the fact that you can have a figurehead, but that doesn't mean that things will change. It doesn't mean that the legislation will actually reflect what would be beneficial to a sector of the population as big as women. Like the whole entire demographic, it's just such a big part of like the entirety of the people that you're supposed to govern and the ones that you're supposed to make the best decisions for. But how are you supposed to make the best decisions for them if you don't know them? You don't have their input. You don't have them there making those decisions. So I think that it's very important to have them be part of like, I know that in the US you have the House of Representatives and whatever. I'm not 100% sure, but but here in Spain, for example, we have the Congreso, the Congress and the Senate, which I'm guessing it's going to the same thing. And they're the ones that pass laws, right? And it's overwhelmingly in a majority male people. So I do think that it's very important, not only in a representation standpoint, not only from seeing someone like you being up there and making decisions, which is where figureheads are, and those are important because the representation matters. But at the same time, you need people who are actually going to make changes to the structure and who are actually going to be able to change and to adapt the system to best cater to all of the population and all of the people that you're supposed to govern and protect and hopefully nurture towards being the best that they can possibly be, and granting them not only fundamental rights, but the things that will make our lives collectively better. So I think that the lack of women in the legislative bodies is really telling of where we are now as a society, where we have women as representation, but not as a presence.
Yeah. All right. So before we wrap it up, guys, I want you guys to give a word of wisdom to the next generation. Right? We have beautiful young ladies coming up on the horizon. Just your advice. So I would go first. My advice is pretty much, no matter what society tells you, just do whatever you want. Like, you're always gonna have criticism, no matter if it's good or bad in life. That's what we learned as we get older. Criticism happens more and more frequently. But do what you want, no matter what is gonna happen. You're always gonna have people to support you, your family or whatever. But be the person you want to be, and that goes for women, especially. Be whatever you want to be. You're always gonna have my support. But no matter how society treats you, be that person that you look at in the mirror and that you want to see become better and progress. So that's my message. Dre, what is your final message, man?
My final message is be better than who you were yesterday. You know, when you come into a level of understanding in different aspects of your life, just try to do better than what you did prior. Just try to learn, try to mature, because it'll be beneficial not only for you, for your future and those around you, because the things you do, they do affect other people and they matter. Little girl, if you're watching this, you matter. Your opinions matter. And, hopefully by the time you're an adult, a lot of the changes we're talking about in this video, a lot of the great points that these women took the time today to talk about have changed. And if they haven't, same fight, which we've been fighting a same fight in my country for a long time, but hopefully, things do start turning and things do start progressing towards the future. You matter.
Yeah, thank you for that message, Dre. Thank you for that message, man. Ashley, what is your final thought?
My final thought is for whoever's watching that's, young little girl, speak up for yourself, support the women around you, support the men as well, but support these women around you. We're not in competition. Like, show love and stay humble. Life comes at you quick, and sometimes, get in the clouds, but stay humble and stay true to yourself.
Yes, sir. Stay humble. Stay humble. Yes, I like that one. Riaana.
Yeah, definitely. Like what Ashley was saying, let's not be in competition. Let's support. I think that's like the biggest thing for me. I also think you should be the change you want to see. No double standards. And talking about myself as a Black woman, I think we need to all raise each other up, and generational wealth. Stop buying chains. Let's
Yes.
keep the money in the generation. Stop waiting for a politician to make your life better. Make your own life better. It's easier said than done, but I think we need to just keep not fighting. We need to just look at our lives, give ourselves freedom, and give ourselves the tools, and share with others. Yeah, if the light is shining on you, you got to shine it on others.
There's still good in the world.
Bright like a diamond, like she said.
That's huge.
Yes, Verónica.
Mine is less well said probably than you do, but just that language matters, and to be super intentional with the way that you frame certain stuff, because that creates an image kind of. So for example, like we were talking about reproductive rights and stuff. I think it's important to say like right to choose versus like pro-life, because then like nobody's really anti-life, you know? Or like I've heard this too with like I try really hard to never say gay marriage, because if you describe it as that, then that implies that marriage is not between two people like who are like of the same gender, and that's wrong because it is. And so we don't want to give people that idea. And so that's my closing thought.
Yeah, no, I like that one too. Sophie, your last thought.
Okay, so to any young girls watching, firstly, just your womanhood does not define you, and it is not defined by how others perceive you. So don't let anyone weaponize it against you. Girly is not an insult, so don't let it be. And secondly, when we say listen, it's important that everyone else understands that it's not just listen. Listen means learn, and learning implies changing your behavior. And yeah, that's my closing thought.
That was nice. I like that one. All right, people, thank you for listening today. Thank you for the beautiful guest as well. Just a thought, please like, share, subscribe. I am Ray. Dre,
I'm
take
Dre.
us out, man.
I'm Dre. Thanks so much, ladies, for coming on here and blessing us with your reviews. Very, very strong and very, very inspirational. You know, I hope that I can do better, you know, for the betterment of women and this our society. Thank you guys again. Seriously. Thank you, ladies, again.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wait.
You listen to us. You listen to us and you gave us the floor. So thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks.
Okay.